The Sports Town Podcast. The Sports Town Podcast.
Let's go to the NFL now. You guys were mentioning you guys are Bears and Falcons fans. Let's first start talking about the Bears. They're going to have an interesting season. Aaron Rodgers is returning, but they now have a new quarterback, it looks like, in Justin Fields. But however, I think Andy Dalton's probably going to get the first few starts, and they do play against the Rams, which is going to be a really tough game. How do you see the Bears season going this year? And is there a chance they win the NFC North and at least make it to the NFC Championship game?
Ooh, NFC Championship game. That I don't think so. NFC North, I think a slight possibility. Not as good as a possibility before Aaron Rodgers showed back up. Obviously, that is the Packers' division to lose at this point. But just going back to start. Let's start at square one. The quarterback room. It's where everything's going to start and stop at this point. As of now, Andy Dalton is QB1. We all saw the tweet. We know he's QB1. Do I think he's going to remain QB1 for very long? I don't think so. I think Justin Fields is lighting it up at camp. This week, we're going to see the Bears play Miami. And I don't think we're going to see much of Fields or Andy Dalton because I think the Bears are going to put Nick Foles up to potentially try to get him traded to either the Jets or to the Colts. But, going on, next week, I don't know what the dress rehearsal game is going to be. Is it game 2 now or is it game 3? But whatever the dress rehearsal game is, I feel like you're going to see more Justin Fields than we're going to be expecting to. And week 1, probably we're going to see Andy Dalton start, but I won't be surprised if it's going to be a Deshaun Watson thing and Justin Fields comes out the second half. I think Justin Fields can lead us very far this year. Depending on how many games Justin Fields does play, I think we have a wild card, especially with the expanded wild card. If they made it last year, I think the wild card is a very good possibility for us.
Do you have anything to add to that, Asif?
I'm excited for Justin Fields. I'm sure you probably know this, and I'm sure your listeners did too. But just to put it out there, like Justin Fields is actually from Kennesaw, Georgia, so he grew up about 30 minutes from when we're in the Bill and I are right now, even though we're in different parts of town. He was the number 1 recruit in the country coming out of high school. He led his high school team, the Harrison Hoyas, to the state championship. And then he went to Georgia for a year and he transferred to Ohio State. And then obviously he's with the Bears now. So the irony of him coming full circle, we're trying to get him on our podcast. And if he does, we'll send him over here to you. But no, I'm excited for Justin Fields. I think, like Nabil said, I don't think you can rush into it. Yes, he's going to play soon, and he should play soon. And what I told Nabil on our podcast at Bears, Brews, and Brews last week, which is it's only a steal if you use him, right? Like, you can't say, oh, we got Justin Fields for the 11th pick in the NFL draft, trading up from 20, but we didn't play him until 2.5 years in because we had Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, and we had to honor those contracts. Like, it's only a steal if he comes in week 3, 4, 5 and starts winning games, wins Rookie of the Year. And eventually, maybe, hopefully, within 6 to 7 years, he's playing for an NFC Championship, if not more, getting some division titles in there, getting a Super Bowl, experience once or twice in his career, hopefully. So I'm excited for Justin Fields because he's a local guy. I know he's good. I've seen him be good so far. And I wish him nothing but the best. Like I said, like Nabil said, I think you have to be very deliberate about how you do it. You don't need to throw him 0 to 100 week 1, game 1, snap number 1, right? You can ease him into it. I mean, if you want him to play 15 years, like sitting out 1 or 2 quarters in the first week of week 1 is not going to be a big deal in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, but, it's also, the brand new toy that's wrapped up. You're just ready to just let it go and see what happens.
So I'll just chime in real fast. This kind of reminds me of a Michael Vick situation, actually, because the Falcons were in the same situation with Michael Vick. Like, they had Michael Vick. He was the number 1 pick in the draft. He was electrifying. He's not the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. We know that's The Rock. But Michael Vick was the most electrifying man on the football field and probably still is up until Patrick Mahomes took over in the last year or two. But even Michael Vick sat out for a few games until Chris Chandler eventually passed the reins over to him. So, yeah, it's a shiny new toy, but, dude, if you bump on the curb in your brand new car, taking it off the lot because you're so excited, what's the point of having that car if you can't even use it right? So that's just my stance on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could kind of see the Bears situation kind of being like what they did a few years ago and I understand Mitch Trubisky was not a good quarterback at all, but I could see where, Mike Glennon, I think started the first 3 games of the season, and Andy Dalton did the same.
Yeah. Like first 6, I think, but that was rough. Andy Dalton's a way better quarterback than Mike Glennon was.
I can understand. It seems like it's going to end up like that. But yeah, we all know Andy Dalton's a better quarterback than Mike Glennon was, and Andy Dalton's already proved it. I mean, he's played in the postseason a plethora of times. He just couldn't get the win. But yeah, I could just see Justin Fields not playing a few games. Unless Andy Dalton plays really well. I mean, you saw that a few years ago with, I think when Joe Flacco was the quarterback in Baltimore. I think he started the first 9 games, and then he was eventually replaced by Lamar. But it could be something like that. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to have that much success. And if he is, I feel like Matt Nagy's going to force Justin Fields in there because of course they did spend a first round draft pick on Justin Fields. So thanks for listening to the Sports Town podcast, or the STP pod for short. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and much more. Also, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Sports Town Podcast. If you want to check out more videos of the Sports Town Podcast, click on the right.